Okay, I do have it set recording, so we're gonna give it a try and hope that our cameraman shows up to do his part.
Let me know and I'll start it.
I haven't started.
Is it already
It's
started?
recording, yeah. So, because it's getting to be a little bit late. And we don't want Darren running us out any too, early when we're in the middle of a word like, gotta go. So, but anyways, week number 6.
I am gonna close the door because there's another group.
Yeah. And I did talk with, Andrew and Emily, and they're going to be here tonight. And Leslie is at her other group, but she's going to come in by 7:30 or thereabouts so that she could be in the group photo. So I hope everybody does show. It'll be fun to have our own picture on there.
I actually took a photo off of Google Images, and put it in one of my things today.
So, and as we all know, this is Easy Peasy Keto Group week number 6. And I've been told I need to make disclaimers that anything we say, don't take for medical advice. We're not your doctor. Check with your own doctors. Do your own research. But we have walked in these shoes and we do a lot of research. And try a lot of things on our own body. Like right now we are on triple B and E. So we'll talk more about that later in the day. Today I have set up to talk about some babies and toddlers on keto. So I figured we might as well start real early. I didn't want to go through the pregnancy bit on keto, but we can backtrack to it if anybody gets pregnant in the group, we will go back and talk pregnancy keto. But I know we're all exposed to children. So that will help. Maybe we can convince some parents with just our way. Ken, you want to go ahead and open up with a Bible verse in your comments?
Okay. I have a letter here from Paul to the Corinthians. It's the 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 and 20 in the NLT Bible. Don't you realize that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who lives in you and was given to you by God? You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. So you must honor God with your body. My thoughts on that. Problems arise when we see our decisions as separate from our bodies or how it impacts our life if we want to honor God with our decisions. Not thinking things through is just how one sweet tea or a bag of chips can lead me into very unhealthy eating. It's not the end. I just have to start again and place it behind me. Don't wait. Start eating healthy right away. The more we seek God in all that we do, the more we begin to think as He does, and the easier it becomes to make better food choices. Thank you for listening, and God bless.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate what you do, searching out and finding for us a Bible verse that kind of matches what we're doing. Yeah. And especially since we're meeting here at the church. And something Ken and I have been discussing is getting shirts made. Maybe we could have you do the logo for us. Easy peasy keto, you matter. I think that would be very fitting. You matter is our church's motto. And it wouldn't be advertising, but we would all know, and it would still tie us back into our church. So we'll see. The first video that we're going to watch is a Dr. Berry video. Is keto safe for kids? And then the second one will be Raising Carnivore Babies' Brain Health by Dr. Saivaz. And welcome to the group, Carl. It is so good to hear your dad is headed, is he in the nursing home or headed to the nursing home for rehab right now?
He's there right now.
He is there right now. I couldn't remember which way, and I apologize for that, but
I have good news and bad news, and it's a very strange blend of news because he just gotten contacted by the insurance company that they're only going to pay for him through the 28th to be there.
2 more days?
Yeah, so they filed an appeal for an extension. And then they're going to talk to the doctors because he's been having to do active dialysis and that kind of stuff. So he's not quite strong enough to be there. But that also means they're going to kick him out early, and that means we can get control of his food earlier because they're feeding him nothing but high carbohydrates and insulin. So.
And they don't even check his sugar before they inject him with insulin. Oh my.
Yeah.
Just give him insulin.
It's on the schedule. So.
It's on a
Wow.
schedule. That is the way that
Yeah.
as a nurse, having worked in nursing homes so often, the order was, you give 5 units, 8 units,
Yeah.
whatever, every evening, for supper. And then you just got to make sure they do eat. And and it's
Yeah.
like there's no even balance.
No.
They're doing this
Right.
all the time.
Absolutely. And
It
there's
is-
no way for him, they're absolutely not going to let it drop too low because every bit of the food that I photographed the other day was just nothing but carbohydrates.
Yeah, which
Nothing.
is so sad. Make a video on this.
So,
This
yeah,
is a
it was-
dad's life in the hospital, nursing home, whatever.
Yeah.
You need to get it out there. More of that needs to be exposed.
Doesn't know we came out of the fridge and this one.
Yeah, I didn't tell him that part.
Okay.
I said, we'll be there to cook for you. I didn't say we already cleaned out your fridge.
Oh, hey.
You'll find out.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter, he's not going to eat it.
So, okay, can we go ahead? Let's start with Dr. Berry.
Let's discuss for a few minutes a very important question to every parent and every grandparent out there. Is keto safe for children? Is the ketogenic way of eating natural and safe for your toddler, your adolescent, your tween, your teen? I'm going to go into detail in this video, and we're going to talk about this and see if we can't figure out what the common sense says, and then any research we'll talk about as well. So if you know a parent or a grandparent who has a little one and you're worried about his or her diet, feel free to share this on your Facebook page. You can share it with them, a text message or a direct message. Please help me get the word out because people need to feed their children and their grandchildren the healthiest diet possible in order for them to grow up and develop into the healthiest, happiest adults possible. That's the goal, right? So let's talk about this. Now, the first 15 years of a human being's life is a magical time. It's a very important time. Basically, all the organs and body systems that you'll use for the rest of your life are just starting to develop. They're doubling in size. Some of them double once a year for several years as a small child grows and gets bigger. And so it's vital that we feed these organs and these tissues and these body systems exactly what they need, the optimal nutrition, so that this child can develop into someone with a high IQ, who's very physically strong and active and agile. That's the goal, is to have a healthy adult human when all is said and done, when we're raising kids, right? So let's talk about some of these different membranes, some of these different systems and organs in the body, and let's think about this. So first of all, let's talk about every single cell in your little one's body. Every cell has a cell membrane around it, and that cell membrane is composed largely of cholesterol. And so if that's the case, if every single one of the trillions of cells in the human body have cholesterol in the cell membrane, and without a properly functioning cell membrane, you can have severe disease, then it obviously stands to reason that we need to feed this child what he or she needs in order to make excellent cell membranes, right? And so that's vital. Every cell membrane must function properly, or you're going to have some severe disease either earlier or later in life. What about the brain and the nerves, right? They're developing so quickly in children. They're developing their little myelin sheath that wraps up the nerves, that helps the nerve impulses travel much faster to the longer nerves in the arms and legs. So what are the brain and nerves? What do they make? The brain is actually the fattiest organ in the human body. It's made predominantly of fat and cholesterol. So it stands to reason that we need to feed our little ones a diet that's rich in the things that the brain is built of. That only makes good sense, right? Next, let's talk about bones and teeth. Now, a lot of us think of bones and teeth like rocks, like they're hard, they're set in stone, they're not changing. Nothing could be further from the truth. Both the bones and teeth are living tissue. They're constantly being remodeled and rebuilt. The teeth, it's a much slower process, but it absolutely occurs. And so your bones, we all think calcium. That's what you think about, right? But actually, bones are a collagen matrix. They're made of collagen, and then the empty spaces in the matrix are filled in with mostly calcium, some phosphorus and magnesium and other minerals. But the bones are living tissue made mostly of collagen. And so we obviously would want to feed our child a diet that's rich in animal collagen so that they can build the strongest bones possible. Now, what about our little one's gut and microbiome, right? Our little one is developing their gut, their immune system in their gut. They're going to develop the microbiome or the gut bacteria that they'll have through their life. Surely we should be feeding a child an ancestrally appropriate diet that is rich in whole foods, in the food groups that our ancestors ate thousands and hundreds of thousands of years ago, right? That only seems to make good common sense. Now, what about our immune system? Our little one's immune system is evolving very rapidly. It's changing. It's learning to recognize new antigens. It's learning to recognize whether this particular cell is friend or foe, whether this particular cell is self or non-self. How silly would it be to introduce foods in our little one's diet that are inflammatory in nature, that would spur an immune response over nothing, that could potentially lead to autoimmune conditions where the immune system mistakenly attacks your own body, like your thyroid and other issues and tissues. We don't want that. We don't want to confuse the immune system. We want to feed this little one an ancestrally appropriate whole foods diet so that they can grow a very healthy, strong, vigorous, and intelligent immune system that can recognize self from non-self. So now, how does all of that, how does keto come into that? Ketogenic way of eating, low carb, high healthy fats. So for 99.999% of human beings' existence on this planet, we have eaten all the fatty meat we could get our hands on, a little veg if we couldn't find any fatty meat. And then once a year, when the fruit and berries were ripe, we would eat a little of that, right? But for the vast majority of our time, we ate keto. That's what we've eaten our entire existence on this planet. That's why we've evolved into the species we've evolved into, with this very large brain, with all these trillions of neurons, right? We couldn't have done that if we weren't eating fatty meat a lot of the time. The archaeology, the anthropology, the evolutionary science, they all point to this, that the reason we have such large brains, such high IQs, the ability to think about ourselves and to plan for the future, is because we ate lots of fatty meat to fuel this very energy-hungry brain of ours, okay? So the common sense of this, it's hands down, it's keto. That's what we all eat. 50,000 years ago, a toddler or an adolescent or a tween or a teen, what did they eat? They ate keto. They ate all the fatty meat they could get their hands on. They ate a little veg if they couldn't do better. And once a year, they had a few treats with fruits and berries. But for most of the year, they ate keto. That's what they ate. And so the common sense is very firmly on the side of the ketogenic way of eating for children of all ages. And so what we definitely want to avoid is to feed our child a fad diet. Now, what's the definition of a fad? That's something that's just come on a short time ago, got really popular, everybody promoted it, and then it kind of dies out. Now, the diets I'm talking about that are fad diets are the standard American diet, the American Diabetes Association diet, the American Heart Association diet, not to mention all the weight loss diets that are obviously fads. These diets have only been around for 30 or 40 or 50 years. That's less than 1/100 of 1% of the time that human beings have been on this planet. They are the fad diets. Why would you want to feed your baby, your toddler, your infant a diet that is that foods that are produced by factories, by big corporations, that are absolutely a fad diet? That 1,000 years ago, your ancestor would look at that and go, "That's crap. I'm not eating that. I'm not feeding that to my baby. I don't even know where that came from. It doesn't even look like food." That's a fad diet, and you should never feed your toddler, your baby, your infant, your young child a fad diet. That can be very dangerous. There are no randomized controlled trials showing that baby formula made of corn syrup and soy are good for babies. There's no randomized controlled trial showing that that's not dangerous for the brain development of babies. Perhaps we've got epidemics now of ADD, ADHD, autism, Asperger's. Wonder where that came from. Maybe there's a connection there. Don't feed your little one a fad diet. That can be dangerous, right? Big Food loves to put things that are easy to manufacture and very cheap to buy, like grains and like fructose and like sugar in all of their products. Those are all fads. Never in the history of the human species have we eaten so many grains, so much sugar, so much fructose, so much sucrose. Never, never, not even if you lived near the equator where it was warm all year long, did you eat this many grams of carbohydrates every day. There's no research that shows that the little biscuits and the little treats and the soy formulas, all that stuff, there's no randomized control trials that show that those are safe for children. So please think twice before you feed Big Food manufactured products to your little one, okay? In my opinion, the ketogenic diet is the natural human diet. It's the diet we've been eating for over 100,000 years on this planet. And it's the diet that we should strive to mimic and continue to eat even today. If you're a child, you want to grow up and be strong and healthy, you should eat keto. If you're an adult and you have chronic disease, if you'd like to reverse those chronic diseases, you need to eat keto, okay? Now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the subscribe button down below and click the little bell right beside it so you'll get a notification every time I get a bright idea. And then also don't forget that Nisha and I go live on my Facebook page every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can join us there and ask your questions, okay? This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.
Okay,
Hey, this is Dr. Berry.
Dr. Berry, some of us had the honor of meeting him, and I had a surgical procedure done today. I'm a little wobbly on my knees yet today. But his wife, Nisha, and him have 2 children, a little boy who just turned 4 and a little girl who's about a year old. And then he also has some adult children. I just recently ran across some videos that his daughter Morgan made at the age of 17. And so next week we'll be doing more the older children videos, etc. And I found, is it Sophie does eat steak? Sophie eats steak?
Suggested.
Yeah. And so we pulled her up. She's really interesting. Just a little heads up on that. She started out doing carnivore at 16 because she was anorexic and everything that went with that, all the mental conditions, etc. So it was quite interesting. So anyways, the next one, Dr. Saivaz. See, we're giving you exercise, Darren. Yeah. Potty squats. Every time you stand up, sit back down. Stand up, sit down. Do some extra ones. See? That's my reasoning, getting you up and down so much. Okay, raising carnivore babies, brain health. And doctor and his wife have 1 little boy. And I've got a list of different videos that they've made through the process. He is, I think, 2.5 or thereabouts now. So.
Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob Sivers. I am the carb addiction doc. And with me is my wife, Janae, the carb addiction mom, and little Rion, the carb addiction kid.
He's so skinny.
And actually, he's pretty much a carnivore. So as you can see, the carnivore diet does not leave you fat deficient. And today what we're going to talk about is how we are feeding and raising Rion. One of the sad events that you may be familiar of that happened to Janae, she had postpartum depression. And as part of that, because of the depths of that postpartum depression, one of the things that we did decide to terminate because she was having some difficulty, is breastfeeding. It was massively disappointing. Not only that was taken away from Rion and from Janae as a shared experience, nutritionally as well as from a bonding perspective, but Janae's mental health depended on that at that time. But the second great disappointment for us was when we looked around for replacements for breast milk. It's something I've spoken about a lot. I am very attuned to autism and particularly brain development in the first 4 to 5 years of life, because the brain is structurally developing, and giving the brain adequate substrate to develop normally. So one of the things that we did not feed him was the standard American formulas, which are very high in carbohydrate content, deficient in saturated fat, and very high on plant-based fats, the soy-based fats, polyunsaturated fatty acids, because we all know saturated fat is so bad for us. So one of the things we tried and played around with was something, I could get this by prescription, KetoCal, not meant for newborns, but has a decent amount of DHA and ARA in the formula. It is a ketogenic-based formula. It is by prescription. I looked at the contents, but it's difficult to get hold of, and he tolerated that, but didn't thrive on it. What we then did, and what he's on now at 6 months, and I think we'll talk about this going forward, he's right at 6 months of age right now. He just had his shots yesterday. Yes, he is fully vaccinated. He is fully vaccinated. But he just had his shots yesterday, and the other thing is he's got 6 teeth now. He's got 4 that are in and 2 more that are breaking. So he's struggling a little bit. Come on over here, my friend. But the formula that we've obtained for him is this. And look at the language, it's Dutch. Janae's going to speak a little bit about the access of that formula, because we could not find a US-based formula for him. We've tried raw goat's milk, and the milks work okay, but this formula has been, and I'm not advertising it, I'm not promoting it, but it is, we had to look overseas to Holland to get this formula.
Yeah, and I did a ton of Googling when we were faced with, like Rob said, the disappointment of after about 6 weeks, I had to end up giving up the breastfeeding. So initially we actually did start on Enfamil.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? We're not a little irritable, but guess what he's doing? This here is a magical formula that I found after a detailed search that no other child ever consumed.
Wow.
This, folks, is something called water. We'll come back to that in a second. Go ahead.
So I did a lot of searching on the internet, and I finally came across this HIPP. Like Rob said, it's Dutch. What I was doing was sending all the nutrition labels I could find on all the different organic, healthy alternative formulas. And I would send them all to Rob, and everyone would write back to me, it's crap, it's crap, it's crap, it's crap. And finally I got a hold of this nutritional label, and he said, wow, that's actually really good. So we started ordering this. We actually order it through a company that's based out of California, but it is Dutch. And so if you order it in bulk, it does take a while because they ship it from overseas. But anyway, I've been very happy with this. He likes it. He's done well with it. And I think we felt a lot better about his nutrition once we were able to switch this. And also, we started giving him real food, as you know, very early.
Before you go there, can I just talk a little bit about what I add to this and what I've added to his formula? The first thing that I add is a teaspoon to a tablespoon of just regular heavy whipping cream. It is pure saturated fat, 3.5 grams of saturated fat, and we supplement his diet with straight saturated fat. That's cow's milk. It is pasteurized. It's not perfect, but at least it gets his saturated fat content up. And the other thing that we do, and I've spoken about this before, I use something called krill oil. Now this is the krill oil made by a company called NutriCost. It's a gram or 1,000 milligrams of DHA, and it's got the EPK in it as well. And Janae took that throughout the pregnancy, and what I do very simply is I take one of these little tablets, little capsules. They look like this. And I use a hat pin, and I poke a hole in the hat pin, and we add that to a 24-hour bottle of formula that we mix each day for him. And in a day, he gets those 1,000 milligrams of DHA. I give it to him every other day, not every day. But that is a good supplement for him. Hey, Bob. And then, folks, the other thing that we do supplement with is just a little bit of red and real salt that we add to this formula. Because the formulas are devoid of sodium, they're devoid of salt. And both the salt sodium chloride as well as some of the other minerals that come with it are a way to supplement his diet in exactly the same way we supplement ours. So that's the way we fortify his formula. We have also added vitamin D drops to his formula. He gets that every other day as well. And while he may not be vitamin D deficient, it's just one of those things, especially in the winter, while we're in Florida, we still supplement with vitamin D for him because of his rapidly growing skeleton. And Jeanette's going to talk about when we started and how we began to supplement food.
So we started right when Rian was 4 months. We were very anxious to start giving him real food, as you all can imagine. And right from the beginning, we were very bold with our food for Rian. We didn't follow the standard recommendation that you can only introduce one food at a time, that you should start with rice, cereal, and fruit, and all those things. Obviously, we wouldn't do that. So we started right into steak, chicken.
First meal was ribeye steak.
First meal was ribeye
Which, by the way, we cut him a big chunk and he was able to suck on it before he had teeth. We started that at 4 months. Once he got teeth, we found that he bit off chunks and we had a choke hazard, so we then went the puree route once he had teeth. But he does get little chunks, small chunks that he can swallow.
Yeah. So my background, some of you may know, is as a speech language pathologist, so we are the experts in dysphagia, swallowing disorders. So I wasn't quite comfortable with him, like Rob said, with having the big chunks once he started getting a lot of teeth. And I know some people do with the whole baby-led weaning thing, which is fine. But because we started him so early on food, because we wanted to get that good nutrition in, I just didn't feel like his swallowing mechanism was fully ready for that. So we did start pureeing his food. So yeah, lots of beef, lots of chicken, fish, cheese. I mean, he's had things like brie cheese. He's had very bold food choices. Avocado, cottage cheese he loves. Every morning I make him eggs that are scrambled in butter and with heavy cream in it.
The other thing, let me just interrupt you, this is something else that we use. It's called ghee. And this is something that we add to his food to enrich the fat content as well. It is a form of butter, and for those of you who don't know what ghee is, but he gets a little bit of that added to his food. It softens it up, it moistens it, and it adds a very, very rich amount of fat to it.
Yep, so I will either mix that actually into the eggs, or something will just make that, the eggs in that. And then I also add cheese. And then I throw it in, I have a small baby food maker. I just throw it in the blender really quickly. Like I said, because I'm not 100% secure with the way the swallowing mechanism is just yet. So, and then he gets that healthy meal every morning to start out. And while he's eating real food, we, like Rob said, give him water. So we don't give him formula at meal times, because obviously you could be filling up on the formula, and we'd rather have him fill up on the real food. So.
And then he gets 3 meals a day. No snacking or anything like that. 3 meals a day, 3 food meals a day. He does get still some of the formula mix through the days he needs that. And we've really, in the process of weaning him off that, the more he eats. And he'll eat a pretty decent amount 3 times a day. He's just had his shot, so he's just right now. And a bit chatty, but one of the thoughts that we've had is that we're very comfortable giving him as much of the necessary substrates for his body and brain development. We know that they are not causing harm with him. We have tested him for that. And from a functional perspective, from a milestone perspective, he's right on target. And we've just been very, very pleased, despite the adversity of not breastfeeding. We've been very, very satisfied with his progression. And we'll see. We'll see what the outcome looks like. We'll keep reporting back. But the one thing that we've never done, we've never bought baby food. He eats basically our food, what we eat each day, Janelle puree. The only thing we spend money on is the little puree machine. And that was a few dollars on Amazon. But I think he's getting restless after doing two videos. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any feedback, let us know in the comments below. And certainly Janae is the Carb Addiction Mom on Instagram. You can contact her directly there, message her. She is very happy to speak about how we've gone down this journey.
And Rita wants to say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye.
Yeah.
We hope this helps. We get a lot of questions about what we feed Rion. Obviously, you can see he's a very happy kid, even though he had his shots yesterday. And we've been very pleased with his nutrition. So happy to answer any questions for you all. And hope this helps. See you next time.
They do have a video where they explain that before. Hi, Leslie. Welcome. Everybody here knows Leslie, but Evelyn and Carl, this is Leslie. She is not a figment of my imagination after all. They were beginning to wonder if you, just lived up here. Anyway, we're covering babies, young toddlers this week, tonight. So anyways, he's got another video where they explain how, of course, they eat carnivore and how baby development right before even conception, they were eating that way, planning on the baby. And to know that the baby at 6 months old's got a mouthful of teeth and looks so undernourished, not getting all that baby food is really...
What are their names again?
That's Cyves, Dr. Rob Cyves, Cyves. I have a handout that's got this video and a few of the others on it. And as I was saying earlier, maybe before you got here, we all know people who have babies and kids, and it doesn't hurt for us to have a little more knowledge in that department. Just maybe we could help raise the next generation better than we were all raised. Well, better than we as those old people, and then the next generation with you younger ones, rolling down the hill. So anyways, any questions, any comments? Let's open this discussion up. I did print out a list of keto and babies and toddlers videos that I have watched that I have found really interesting. You guys can read one, or you guys will share. Baby food dangers. These days kids talk to the carnivore mom. Kelly Hogan, the very bottom one. She is carnivore for, I think, 10 years, and she has 3 children. And they're not strictly carnivore, but they are keto kids. And watching this video today was really fun, hearing the kids talk. Carnivore diet for kids, how our toddlers eat meat, with Colin Stuckert. I had never watched any of his videos before. That was the first one, and he's got a whole bunch of them. I'd like to go in and do more research there. So winter's coming on. You guys all have more YouTubing time to curl up in front of the fireplace. But I hope that this helps. You don't just interrupt, Sherry. No arm raising. Okay.
I do have a question.
Okay, go for it.
So when I was on keto last, our kids were teenagers, and I did not let them eat with us because they were used to the standard American diet, and in my mind, it's unsafe to go on and off and on and off and on. So is that true, or is that just me being paranoid?
There is a lot of adults who are on keto now who cycle in and out of keto. It's not a way I can do it. I have to be 24/7 keto.
Is that what they're calling carb cycling now? Gotcha.
Yeah, and some people will eat keto 5 days a week and not 2 days a week, whatever. Their results I don't feel are as good, but that's my opinion as somebody who just sticks with it all.
Yeah.
As we have cycled on to keto, ketovore, and now carnivore, we're just feeling so much difference inside of us. Our health is just unbelievable. So I don't think I could personally do that. Some people call them cheat days and whatever, but anything you can do to help your kids, anybody's kids, make healthier choices, I think is better.
I can tell you from my own personal experience, being on Atkins at the lower carb level, which is essentially keto, I would do the eat keto and have a cheat day or maybe even 2 cheat days a week. And I can tell you that I did lose weight initially, and then I plateaued, and it was harder than heck to break that plateau. I was bumping myself in the process because my cheat days I would eat basically, I wouldn't necessarily go carb crazy, but
Yeah.
I might, if we went out to eat after lunch or after church or something, I would just order whatever I wanted to off the menu rather than really looking real close at it and stuff. So I may have, a steak and fries or a Mexican meal with the rice and stuff, and I can guarantee you that would knock me out of ketosis.
Yeah.
I think that was part of my problem last time, and it's not even, like, I wasn't doing the fries and stuff, but my downfall is that big fried cheese.
Okay, let me note this. Fried
Have you ever
cheese.
done just fried cheese without the breading?
We do at home.
Yeah.
But
When you go out to eat, it's hard to find.
Yeah. One of the things I've found when it comes to, like, if I were to quote, have a cheat day, is that I feel a huge impact emotionally because I seek out something that is maybe high in sugar, not just carbohydrates or bread, but literally something that's high in sugar, and then I ride that sugar high and crash. And so emotionally and physically, I feel completely run down if I were compromised. And so I think it's something that we have to be real careful with our kids, because if we encourage them to go back and forth instead of just go completely in one direction, they're going to learn how to ride a cycle of addiction and withdrawal. And that can be super, super dangerous if they go, oh, hey, that's okay. I'm just going to go crazy and drink, a gallon of Mountain Dew and woo, right? And, kids will do that anyway, but then they stay in that. And then as soon as they crash, the only way to fix it is to feed the addiction, because the withdrawal lasts for several days if you're consuming lots of sugars. So, and the medical community will tell you, oh my gosh, their glucose level is getting low. They're going to die. Look, they're getting sweats, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, no, they're going through withdrawals from high quantities of sugar, which do not need to be consumed. There's no essential carbohydrates at all. They're not essential.
Right.
I mean, period. So there are essential minerals, essential vitamins, those kind of things, but there's essential proteins, amino acids, essential fatty acids, but there's no essential carbs. The body makes glucose. Well, we don't want to play with things that are just going to shoot us into literal addictions, and then all we're doing is craving that. That's why we have those weaknesses when we go out to eat. We're like, oh man, I have a memory of consuming that and how that made me feel. but we forget the memory of coming off and the crash. Why? Because we didn't let it happen. Most of the time, we just went ahead and had another pop or had another piece of bread. So we never let ourselves crash. But once you get into that ketosis cycle, you run out of energy if you let yourself fall out of ketosis. And so you want to stay on the healthy fats. And so encourage the kids to get on it and stay on it. We've watched our children go through lots of emotional problems lately, and even headaches. And we're like, well, we told you not to consume the sugar and to eat more meat, right? And to eat more meat. And over and over again, we're going through this with our teens, and they wake up and they're achy and they have headaches, and why? Because they're crashed because they consumed a bunch of junk before going to bed. No matter how many times we told them, don't do it, and so they end up with the repercussions physically. So if they stayed with it and ate the meat that we made instead of going and trying to find something else, then they wouldn't have gone through that emotional crash, physical crash, etc. So it's hard to get them to get all the way on it, but once they're on it, they're going to find the physical benefits. So I personally say continue to pester them, continue to encourage them to eat the meat, to eat the healthy foods, whole foods, not the processed foods, those kind of things. And you just have to stay on them about it, because once they go back into quote carb cycling, they're just going on a cycle of addiction and withdrawal. And that's just, it's sickening and dangerous. It really messes with the head.
Yeah. How old are your children now, if you don't mind sharing that?
16 and 19.
Okay. One of the videos that I watched on this research to do for the children, teens, etc., was again a Dr. Berry one. And he mentions, because he's got 3 older children from a previous marriage. And he commented that in one of them that he has learned to just talk with his child the next day and say, now, look how you feel after they've been to that Friday night fling or whatever, and what they feel like. Is this worth your last night of partying, playing, and etc.? And I will have on that list, I had mentioned to some earlier, Morgan Berry. When she was 17 years old, she started recording a YouTube channel. And I don't remember, there's 4 or 5 videos she has put out.
Videos on her site.
8 altogether. I couldn't remember how many there was. And now she's 20 and off to college. I'm not very good on Instagram, but I know she mentioned Instagram quite a few times, and so does the other young lady who I was researching. So maybe we would find more there, but I don't even know how to search on Instagram. You guys, I'm lucky I'm hitting YouTube. I need, go to the library and look through books. So.
Well, I had an aha moment. I don't know how else to call it, but if I consider sugar poison, why would I keep feeding it to the people I love?
I had to do the same thing.
So I told my kids, I said, if you choose to eat junk food, candy, and carbohydrates, basically anything with sugar in it, I will allow you to purchase that. That will be your thing if you wish to purchase this. I mean, even as far as buns for hot dogs or buns for hamburgers, I'm not buying them. I said, it's just as easy for me to make a chaffle and stick a hamburger on the chaffle, or make an egg life wrap. We do egg life wraps on hot dogs, and we do chaffles for hamburgers. And it's like, you don't need anything else, and I'm not going to purchase it. If I care about you, I'm not going to continue to feed you poison. I'm not going to say it's not allowed in the house if you want it. But the only desserts I make are all keto. The only things I will make are all keto. And I'm like, as they're finishing off their sugary barbecue sauces and things that we already had in the pantry, as those finish up, the things that are coming in are all sugar-free. All sugar-free. That's all we're having. Because if I can't eat it, I'm not bringing it in the house.
Very good
And I
policy.
am not gonna continue to feed my kids poison now that I know better.
Yeah. And that's what so much of it is. When I was raising my children, they're 47, 49, and 50 now. I didn't know any different. I mean, this is the way we were raised. My children are blessed that they were raised in Alaska, and we didn't have a lot of the convenience foods that's out there now. Plus, I was a single mom for 10 years with 3 babies. I couldn't afford a lot of the convenience foods. And we always hunted and fished, so they had a lot of that good basis to go on. I'm not saying we didn't go to, McDonald's. One of my son's favorite memories was McDonald's Sunday night for $1 all you could eat pancakes. You know, this was our splurge. It would end up costing us like $5 by the time we got out of McDonald's. So, but now that we know better, like you, I'm not going to feed my loved ones the foods that got me so unhealthy. We don't cook any of them in our home. We had been. When I first started keto, when I first met Ken, I cooked my food, I cooked other foods. Then it got to be, I was cooking dirty keto, using a lot of keto products that we now know are no good. They're no better than it's big manufacturers trying to make their bucks yet. And so we've weaned out, and I lost weight that way. But I was just losing weight. I wasn't getting healthy because of the garbage I was still putting into my body. And as I've gotten cleaner, and the house has gotten cleaner of those foods. And some girlfriend stopped by today and just marveled at, she always stops to see what we have to eat. And she's nowhere near keto, but she knows it's all going to be good food. So that's a boost in the right direction. So how was your guys' week this week? Our week was quite interesting. Hey, you want to stick the picture up of Indy?
I didn't see it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I sent.
I didn't see a link to the picture.
I think I sent it through email. Anyways, it's a picture of this last weekend of just the group picture. There was over 30 of us that got together right outside of Indianapolis. And it is so freaking fun to meet up, and it cost us $15 a piece. They cooked turkey, brisket, what was some of the other meat that they had there? And then it was like a potluck. I brought brown bacon bites, brown butter, baconed brown butter. I made brown butter and I put bacon bits in it. Okay, and dehydrated bacon. I made bacon jerky. And those are 2 great new recipes that we are really enjoying on our Triple B and E. And then we also took the dehydrated vegetables like I had here last week. We took a tote full of those over and shared our garden. But last week I was drinking Zevia. And I'm not going to blame it on Zevia. I'm going to blame it on the carbonation. That was the 3rd time I drank a carbonated beverage in the evening, and doesn't matter how much electrolytes I used, I woke up with terrible Charlie horses multiple times through the night. And the only thing common with what I was drinking was the carbonation. So now am I going to try a carbonated drink one more time to see if it'll happen again or if I've learned my lesson? Tonight I have Element and plain old water. So it's as you get to know your body, as it gets healthier, to find those little things that really set you off. and to share it. Where are you going?
We gotta make it to the pharmacy before it closes.
Oh, no, you're supposed to, we're going to do group photo. Can we interrupt real quick and do a group photo?
Yeah.
Pause this.
Oh, yeah, pause that. Yeah, go ahead, go for it.
Okay. How people say they have a cheat day or they goofed or anything. I experienced something like that. I say I was set up, but that was good because I needed to learn
He's
this.
telling a story.
But we were out just on an average day, and how long was I in the keto? Maybe 3-4 months. I was pretty new.
What's our
And Stacy says, "Hey, let's go get an ice cream."
JB Twisters?
Yes.
We were coming back from dropping at recycle yard debris. You were tired, hot.
So of course we did, and I got my favorite 2-scoop, and I'll tell you, they talked back then. I thought it was called the keto flu. Well, it was the withdrawals again that came along with it, and it kicked my butt for a few days. And I won't do that again. What does happen though, Joe, from the Two Crazy Ketos, when you're out and about doing your road tripping and that, and you got to eat out, usually you can find things that you can eat, but he allows himself that 10%. You don't know what your food's fried in. You don't know little different things. Is it real butter or is it margarine? Because it won't say it on there. Chances are it's margarine. I allow myself that. I don't allow myself any kind of cheat days because I'm only cheating myself, and I don't want to feel miserable again. And raising kids, well, I can tell you, my whole family, I would say now that please get out to the young ones and educate them so they don't have to go through certain things in life once you get older. And being that way, not knowing any better, just eating until I was full on anything and everything. I did it to my family too. And I've gotten very healthy by eating healthy, and I can just say that they're still where they're at. And I pray. I just know that you're right. There is no carbs that you really want to put in your body. You don't have to. They're not beneficial to you. And with that, I had to share. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I really didn't set him up. I had not gone through the carb withdrawal to such a drastic degree. And I don't know if it's because I did such baby steps that weaning myself into keto that I didn't have what is called keto flu, the sugar withdrawals, the carb withdrawals like that. And I did feel really bad for the way he felt, like I had poisoned him, letting him have ice cream. But it's left a good memory for him. So,
And now you make keto chow ice cream, right?
I do, yes.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about it anymore.
And now when we're not on triple B and E, he has it probably 5 or 6 times a week. So
Yes.
yeah, we always make sure we have plenty of containers mixed up in the freezer. Are you enjoying keto chow ice cream
I
now?
had my first bit of it that you sent tonight. Corey liked it. My niece Ella did not like it.
Okay.
She could probably tell the difference in the sweetness. She's really big into regular ice cream, unfortunately. And my other niece wouldn't even taste it. It was the banana. I don't think she cares for banana.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we had done is I had, 4 containers mixed up in the freezer, and we started triple B and E, which is beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That's all we're eating for a 30-day challenge. Beef is any ruminant animal, so you could add quite a bit there. And bacon is any of the fatty porks. And then we use salt and pepper for seasoning. We're not using the garlic, the onion. My 60-some spice jars on my kitchen wall are being neglected. So,
Dust.
but we're really been happy with it. Just surprised the way you can really mix up those foods and make something good and knowing it's really healthy, and knowing we only made a commitment to ourselves of doing it for 30 days. But when the end of 30 days comes, if I'm still feeling it, I might go on. But we were talking today of the different things that we could add back in, like I had posted, the chicken nugget recipe on Easy Peasy Keto. And so that would have to come after we spend 2 weeks introducing cheese back into his diet to see how his body reacts. And then almond flour and then the chicken. So it'll take us, 6 weeks after we get off of triple B and E before we can make that. But it's a goal, and it's going to be fun. And I think that's what's really important, is to make your food fun. And I know for myself, I'm not thinking about food all day long anymore, where it used to be just trying to, what are we going to eat today? We got to go to the grocery store. Now we go to the grocery store to buy fruits and vegetables to feed our chickens. No joke. He ran to Kroger's today to get fruit for the chickens. So, but back to Indy Friendsgiving. It was such a great experience to meet up with. We met a new couple. This was their first experience at any, we sat at the table with them for the dinner, and they were just they were fun, and they were so excited to meet, just like we are when we get to see the friends from around the country again. It's a loving environment, and just knowing everybody there, we're not looking at each other's plate. We're not condemning each other, but we're all eating pretty close together, the same types of food. One thing on the way back from Indy, the rest stop, I thought, a candy bar, where that came from. I have not eaten a candy bar in over 2 years. It was so strong. I wanted a candy bar that when, instead of even going in, I stood out at the car, up against the car hood, and I did 30 push-ups. I didn't know how long it could take this man to pee. I just kept doing push-ups. It was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to fall for it. And another stop, it was okay. I'm going to do this. I'm not running into Speedway. I'm just going to keep moving and get my body flexing. So I made it without buying something off program. So that was a good accomplishment for me, because traveling is hard. It just seems like I get bored and I want to eat.
I think part of it is boredom. Part of it is the body reminding you, hey, remember back when you got fatigued and you need to keep, I don't know, were you doing the driving?
I drove there, he drove back.
So if you needed attention and the body's like, by the way, that candy bar really helped you for a while you needed to focus. And we remember those things because they were, quote, solutions at the time. And so you pop in for a candy bar and a pop, and then you get back on the road and you're all perked up for a little bit. But simply moving like you did literally releases the endorphins back in your body that weren't going because you were sedentary. So, and the mind kind of quiets and you're, going, and that's why you got to get your partner or your navigator and say, hey, talk to me, right? But yeah, a lot of times we get into those patterns and the body, like you said, well, where did that come from? But the body said, hey, you used to stop and you used to grab this and it worked. And you're like, yeah, but that was a bad solution for what was working, There's all kinds of things I used to do that were stupid. And I try not to repeat those now. And, every once in a while I hear something in my head that says, go do this. And I think, well, that was stupid. Why would I go do that? It was bad for me then. And I made the decision to do it then. But then when, God changed my life around, I don't do it anymore. I don't even consider it unless those weird things happen where the body's under stress, and that stressful solution, the stress release solution came about in the back of the head because it was a solution at one time.
I know at one time I had heard that because you're being so overstimulated with so much visual going on,
Mhm.
even different noises, even if you don't have the radio on, or we played a lot of the podcasts, Joe and Rachel, we listened to them for hours, but you're just being so stimulated that your taste buds
Yeah.
also want that
And
stimulation.
that'll actually release your, a little bit of the glucose. And then, so even though it was only a little bit of glucose because your taste buds go, what happens when your glucose rises? Your insulin goes. And yet there was no real glucose in your body, like no artificial thing, exogenous carbohydrates coming in. And so what happens? That insulin hits your glucose and it dropped. And then your body's like, get some.
Yeah.
And so, you need ketones.
We did get, at one of the stops, we bought a bag of just plain basic pork rinds. I ate 2 of them and they were such an off brand that 2 of them was enough. They went in the back seat. They'll get ground up to make pork rind crumbs to go into something. And then also this week, last week I had been to the doctor on Thursday, and then this week, Tuesday, Ken went in and had back procedure done, and then I was in today and had back procedure done. So if you guys will think of prayers for us, we really appreciate it. But one nice thing I did find, today, it seems like each time we are out in a setting like that, there's more people wanting to know more information about keto.
Mm-hmm.
When they even want to offer you juice and a graham cracker, no, thank you. I don't eat any wheat products. I don't use sugar. And, tell us about it. But we're such frequent flyers at the pain clinic at Blanchard Valley Hospital. They know us, and so now they just ask me when I come in, how's the diet going? I said, it's not a diet, guys. It's a way of life. So maybe get some converts there. But yeah, for that I would really. So how's your guys' week going? Leslie,
Yes.
You got lots of weeks to catch up on. How's it going for you?
Good. I've been doing pickleball on the Thursday until that ends, which is daylight savings. Then I'll be back here. But I don't know, I'm always running around all over.
Yeah.
So I think 2 more weeks of pickleball.
And how is things going with your daughter and the situation? Her daughter goes to Bluffton University, her first year. How's it going down there?
Going pretty good. She's just struggling a little bit with some classes.
Uh-huh.
To be expected.
And mom withdrawals of not having a teenager in the house?
I think she probably, I'm still withdrawing from that. So, I don't know, it's just, I do a lot of things that I like now, and I'm finding things that I like, and I'm finding myself, and that's all great, I love that. But, just the boring at home, just the dog and cat. Like I don't know, but my son is.
You want my kids?
You know where I live.
But my son's getting ready to move from Fremont to Astoria, so that's good, so that'd be nice, I'll help him, and he's 27, so, things are.
Oh, what a great news.
So happy. It's been a long process of trying to get him to come over to Fostoria and get out of here.
All right. Darren, what's church news for the week? Anything exciting besides trying to invite people?
That's pretty much the message. The Halloween weekend followed by this weekend, followed by after movies, and then of course December and Christmas. This is a prime time for inviting friends and stuff to church. They'll be more likely to accept your invitation with what we have going on. There's a little candy hunt for the kids if you let them do that kind of thing. But that they're asking, or they're saying, you know, if you want to break out a Halloween costume, you can come in costume this weekend.
I think Ken and I, thanks to Leslie providing my dress, we're gonna come roaring 20s. She lent me a dress for on the cruise because our final night was roaring 20s. So we're thinking we might dress up for it since we work out in the lobby greeting people, you know. It's so.
So last week, I'm sorry, so I come back and talk to you.
No.
I hold back against your kids.
Oh,
That's where
okay.
you disappeared.
That's so sorry about, I was gonna text you. That's what happened. I planned on coming back, and they're like, you need to come back here because as the kids keep growing, there's not enough people serving, so hopefully that changes.
Our church is growing with leaps and bounds, which is always nice to see any Christ-believing church grow like this. But, and your dad is in the nursing home.
Yeah, he's over at Birch Haven, and he's doing really well. I asked him how he was doing. He says, I don't know. So he was doing well. But yeah, he's. I like to see him progressing the way he is. He's got more energy, and you know they've been wearing him out with his physical therapy and occupational therapy and getting him moving. And every time they take him out, he's doing dialysis 3 times a week right now. And I mentioned something to him. I said, your kidney doctor does understand that he needs to discuss this with the other doctor, right, Dad? The one that puts you on lots and lots and lots of insulin, that the insulin is the thing that destroys the kidneys. And my dad says, it is? I said, yeah. So, so yeah, we had a little talk about that. And I said, we might need to discuss this and figure that out a little bit so that he begins to realize that it's kind of important to understand what your meds do to you, because if the more the doctors say it's okay to go ahead and eat high carbs, you're just going to take more insulin. Well, that insulin just kills his kidneys. So now he's on dialysis and liver. So yeah, and the pancreas is already saying, oh, well, you know, I was overworked before, and now I don't have to work. So, and it doesn't ever find a release there. So it's kind of tough, but we're gonna talk about all the details of that. And then Evelyn and I went on Saturday. Instead of going all the way to Indianapolis, we met with some friends down in Dayton and some people that we met at Keto Palooza and had a great time. We looked at the clock after we were 4 hours and we said, we should probably go. We've been sitting there and chatting.
Didn't even realize we had been there for over 4 hours.
We just had so much fun chatting.
Talking. Yeah. It was 4.5 hours.
Yeah, by the time we left, 4.5 hours. So that was a blessing, just to be able to connect with them and be encouraged. They were such sweet people. And then on Sunday, we went and visited a church, and some folks said, hey, we'll take you out to eat after. And so we went over to a Mexican restaurant, and we said, well, what do they have? BBB&E, right? And Evelyn says, can I just get steak? Can I just get eggs?
So they brought me a whole plate of steak, like chipped steak, and a whole plate of fluffy scrambled eggs.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
That's all I had.
They had
a plate of eggs and a plate of steak.
It had a touch of some type of Mexican seasoning, but not too much. But enough.
You know, like the 10%. It's like you don't know exactly what it cooked in.
But
I told them not to put
I
anything on it, but whatever it came with, it had a little bit of flavoring. I had my salt in my purse. I salted everything, and I ate it. That was it.
I was like, wow, that looked beautiful.
It was so good looking that the people that were with me were like looking at mine going, that looks good.
Why do I have beans and rice?
The next day, I saw the gentleman that we had lunch with. I saw him at the store, and he was buying the steak and the eggs in order to make my meal that I had at the restaurant.
Well,
So we're going to be in
and it was a blessing.
You made a good impression.
Yeah, we were able to discuss with them. He's been dabbling with keto. He was very strict with it for a bit and got very healthy for a while, but then kind of goes off the rails when his wife isn't really encouraged, and she needs to lose some weight. It's for a health procedure, and so we were encouraging them that we're happy to guide them through things. It's extremely important that you make a switch and you stick with it. And, she loves what she loves is what she says. And unfortunately we do, right? We get stuck in that cycle and we don't realize that what we love is literally what's putting us in the grave early. So
And I had
it's that. We love them.
I had a moment on Sunday where I was like, God wants his people off of sugar. It destroys your brain. It destroys your body. How much more can we carry the gospel of Christ throughout our nation if our bodies can hike up a mountain to a place that they've never heard of Jesus before? If we can go places that we've never gone because our bodies can carry us. And if the last 10, 15, 20 years of our life, we're not on machines or paying doctors or having to stay at home in our little area, going back and forth to doctor's visits, back and forth to doctor visits, and just shelling out money to them. Imagine how much more money we can put into missions to carry the gospel, and imagine how much less money we will be giving to doctors if we can get off the poisons that are pushed upon us every day.
Yeah.
And my brain just went, God wants his people off of sugar.
He wants us healthy.
Yeah.
He gave us healthy bodies.
He created these temples so that they are to be healthy. He knows how they work. He's known all along. He knows what we need, what's best for these bodies. It's just that in my brain, I see Satan as the poison that is pushing the sugar on us.
Thank you for
We're
sharing
giving
that.
into the evil, the lies, and what is Satan is pushing on our bodies to defile our temples. These are temples for God. They need to stay clean so that we can do his work.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
No, very good.
But it just came to me on Sunday that we need to be healthy.
Isn't it neat when we get these realizations, when something hits us like that, and it's like, wow, where did that come from? Okay, God, I hear
I'm listening.
ya.
I'm listening because when we got together, we were like, we want to be a missionary family. And then I got so sick. I mean, literally going through a whole 500 pill bottle of ibuprofen once a month. 500 ibuprofen every month.
Yeah.
Just to be able to do an hour and a half of work a day. Couldn't even work longer than that. So my health really suffered. And it's like, how am I supposed to do anything for anybody else if I'm always worried about how I'm going to survive? If you're worried about surviving, you're not thinking of others.
You are such a missionary right now with spreading your word and getting yourself healthy. The story you are telling is reaching a lot further than these 4 walls, girl.
Hope so. I hope people are encouraged to stop feeding themselves and their loved ones poison.
Yes.
Because some people, they say, oh, well, I had a cheat day and I did this. And I'm like, if you were allergic to it and it was deadly to you, because it's been deadly to you all along, it's just a slow poison, you know?
Right.
It's been deadly to your body all along. And you've allowed it in because it didn't kill you right away. But it is killing you. It's taking off the last 10, 15, 20 years of your life.
Right.
Living like his dad on a dialysis machine with your kidneys failing, your liver failing, your pancreas dying. You don't want that. You don't want to be in pain, suffering, and living off of machines for the last few years of your life. You want to be
living.
Vitality, just have that vitality and be able to have your mind about you. You don't want to have Alzheimer's, which now they're calling type 3 diabetes.
Yes.
You don't want to have Alzheimer's caused by sugar and no fat. You don't want to be out of your mind and not be able to take care of yourself. His mom is in the nursing home with Alzheimer's, and sometimes she doesn't know who we are, and she's just...
She got obsessed with low fat in the 60s and 70s and just kept on the low fat train. been very conservative with calories all the
Never
time.
fed her brain the fat
Never,
it needed.
just kept reducing fat, and now her brain is starved.
And that is what we were all taught.
Yeah, I know,
during that time.
and I was
so sad.
I had a revelation when I was reading Dr. Lowry's book, and I said, wait a minute, here I was with what is it, childhood absence seizures, and they gave me Dilantin, which they weren't supposed to give me for childhood absence seizures, but that was the thing that they gave, which was a form of phenobarbital, which is sedation. I became a drug addict looking after being super depressed. Wait a minute, where was my body? My mind was seeking all kinds of things. Now I'm not justifying or blaming that, but I know that sets me up for failure when literally all I had to do was eat healthy. And if I had been introduced to keto as a child, it would have eliminated my absent seizures. In addition, we've got lots of cancer, heart trouble, and diabetes in the family, 2 types of diabetes in the family, and all of those, had they been introduced to ketogenic, proper human diet, nobody would have had any problems, because sugar feeds cancer and keeps it going.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the biggest ways to cure cancer, especially if they catch it early. Starve it, don't give it any sugar, and guess what?
93 or 94% of all cancers, if you stop eating sugar, will not develop or grow.
And what they do is they give them all kinds of sugar supplements.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Very
That's okay. You're looking a
personal.
little weak. Let's give you another Ensure. Which
Very
is
personal story. Both of us lost our previous spouses to cancer.
Yeah.
And then since we've been together, I had a sister who died from cancer.
Yeah.
So it really hits home for us.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to do a week on cancer,
Sure.
but I haven't been able to do it yet.
Yeah,
Sure.
you got to be in the right emotional mindset
Yeah,
too.
that's why we went to the babies this week.
That's right.
Well,
Let's do it.
when you're ready
Yeah,
for
we're
it,
out
we
there.
should all wear our cancer shirts. I have several shirts support support shirts. We
Okay.
should all do that, and we should take a picture. And
Yeah.
I'll be here to help you. Boost you up. Be your encouragement.
But yeah, it's tough when you look back and you say, wait a minute, all this time.
If only I had
If
known.
only I had known, if only my mom and dad had known, if only, and so now we have to play, can mom catch up and can we sneak in and get her a bunch of fat? She won't consume it. And they don't, everything
we make the
in
keto chow
there is,
ice cream or the keto chow shakes, and we take them to her and see if she'll drink them.
we got a little bit, we can sneak it in a little at a time, and dad, I know especially if he gets rejected from his insurance after a bit, we can start feeding him right at home.
Yeah.
So we
We're
might
moving
get a
in.
few more
That's all
years
we get.
with dad. So praise God, he's getting kicked off. Hey, that's great. It's bad and good at the same time.
Yeah, we're all aware.
Yeah.
Ashley does some work in nursing homes too. And what they're fed there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that my father-in-law gets fed way better than my mother-in-law. She has Alzheimer's, so I'm wondering if people are feeding her the leftover junk that nobody else wanted.
She doesn't. She's not picky. She just
She's
cares.
not picky. She doesn't care. She doesn't pick her food, and so it's like that's gross.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
let's do
interesting.
our drawing.
I just want to do one more thing.
Oh,
I have my keto socks on, guys.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah.
bacon and eggs.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
Oh,
fun.
we're going to do a picture with his leg up here, too, in the picture.
Did you see the photographer Jess had a Hawaiian shirt, but it was all bacon and eggs.
Oh.
And the eggs looked like flowers almost, like a Hawaiian shirt.
It was hilarious.
It was fun. I'm like,
I had to double check to
it
look at
wasn't just bacon and eggs, but it made it look like a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Bacon and
Okay,
eggs.
Kim, you get to draw a number. Chris won the last 2 weeks,
Oh, he did.
Leslie. So,
First one, if you want the last 2 weeks. First
yeah. I gotta be able to read it. 016. That's you.
Girl, I just show up when things.
Go, girl.
So late when things would be. That's so funny.
It's all good. It's all good.
she comes sauntering in for the last
I know,
few
right?
minutes. You want to deliver this to
I
Leslie?
sure will.
And then,
Here you
well,
go.
thank you. There is some recipes in there, so I also printed out. I know you probably got every one of these recipes
That's
already. Do you want a copy too?
No, I'll give her this.
Oh, my
Thank you.
goodness, how fun.
So,
This is awesome.
Those make
Oh,
awesome
you guys,
things.
you put more in your basic than I do.
oh, well,
I literally do a half cup of shredded cheese and an egg.
yeah, I normally will use but this was, I went through, Annie.
Plus with the almond flour.
The the best keto recipes.com is where I
I
got this
follow
one.
2 whole entire Facebook pages that are only chocolate recipes.
Oh, wow.
That
So,
are only chocolate recipes.
well, Leslie has in her bag a chaffle maker.
Wow, well, I'm glad you won it, because we don't need more at our house. I think we've got 9 of them.
We have,
Different
yes,
shapes and sizes.
Yep.
for different
yes,
seasons.
they're
So if you
fun.
don't have one, those are very good. Yes.
And then, I did do one, of keto chow recipes in here, the keto chow taco
Nice.
recipe. And so I did put 1 package of keto chow in there for her also to help along the way.
What flavors you get?
Chocolate.
So how do you make your ice cream with this?
Let me catch you up on that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you want chocolate ice cream?
You can send me the,
Yes.
You know what?
whatever you tell me.
I've
You want
got, I'm making a
chocolate ice
list
cream.
here of other recipes,
Yeah, for sure.
to print off and find for next week. Bacon mayo recipes, but somebody had trouble with store-bought mayo, but then the idea of making the mayo with raw eggs, he doesn't know if he could eat it, so we're gonna have to make a convert over here, you know?
I buy, is it Chosen Foods?
Yeah, I think
There's
so.
Chosen Foods and then there's Sir Kensington's.
Yeah,
That's what I bought.
I got
bought
Sir
some
Kensington's and you didn't like it?
I haven't tried it. I haven't got it.
Oh, okay.
I was using regular Hellman's that had 0
Yeah.
carbs in it, and then I read the
Yeah,
ingredients.
the oils are all
The
over the
oils
place.
are the bad stuff. isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip out of that.
Yeah.
So
Even the one
I-
that says olive oil, made with olive oil, it's made with some olive oil. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
all
it's not all
olive oil.
up in another world.
yeah.
So you
Usually
don't
canola, 'cause
figure
it's
it
cheap.
out.
Yeah, but I get it at, Watch for Sales at Meijer in town
Meijer-
because they
Meijer
have the
Carrier's
Chosen
good.
Foods.
Yeah.
They have Chosen Foods and there's one that's cleaner than the other. There's one that's labeled keto mayonnaise by the
Yeah.
Chosen Foods, but there's another one, and I think it's the avocado oil
Yeah.
that's cleaner.
It's cleaner.
It's cleaner. And my thing is, when you buy things off the rack that say keto, sometimes they just add MCT oil or they add fat to it.
Yeah.
But then I can't regulate my own fat.
Yeah.
I can't regulate my own fat for it. So
Yeah.
Do they
I'll
make
check
that?
out that at Meijer. I usually don't go in Meijer to shop, so I would have to.
they have a good,
I know they have a good
amount of
selection.
Yeah.
I've been in there, but typically.
Yeah.
Chosen or Sir Kensington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are the two.
On the on any of them, do they make them in the smaller container?
Yeah, it's fairly small.
Because, you know, we get the quart size
Yeah, no,
and I end up
it's
throwing
fairly
away
small.
half of it
No,
because
No,
we
they're
don't.
small. And the last time I caught the one I really liked on sale, and I want to say it was like half. I was either half off or 2 for the price of 1 or something like that. And so I mean, I think I know it's more expensive than regular mayo, but it was like $6 or $7 real price, and I got it for like $3 or $3.50. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just doing it as a condiment, you know.
And I don't do it that often.
Yeah.
And what I did was I started using that for like salads, like especially during the summer. I like my egg salad. I like chicken salad. I like a tuna salad
Yeah.
and those kind of stuff. And I was like, well, if I mix it up with their mayonnaise, the kids' mayonnaise, then I can't eat it. because I won't eat it because those oils make me inflamed like immediately.
Yeah.
Even more so than sugar, oils make me inflamed. So I'm like, I can't do that. So I started buying them this summer and I was trying to catch them at any sale and stock up a little bit because I could use a half of one of those little jars to make a big salad so that we had enough for the week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Can you freeze that kind of mayo, or?
I would.
If you did, I would transfer it to a different container.
Yeah,
So
that's why I'm wondering if I could put it in like the little seal-a-meal plastic
you
kind
probably
of bags and then use it, or if it would all separate.
could. I was going to say, as soon as you thaw it, you would need to emulsify it again and beat it up.
Kind of like
crazy,
freezing
but-
the avocados.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mash those up right away and then use them.
Yeah, you'd be all right, but you're gonna probably get a consistency change, and I wouldn't freeze it for more than 2 months.
Or what I should do is when I open that new quart of mayo, come in here with containers and share it with everybody, you know? So,
Yes.
Yeah. When you're eating really good food with the right kinds of things on it, I notice I season way less. Like, I love my flavorings. I love curries. I love like taco seasoning. I love Italian seasoning. Italian seasoning we go through like crazy at my house. But and we have the spice rack, and I'm always adding and mixing and doing my own kind of things too. And I even bought some special spices for making some of Maria's special African blends and stuff, like fenugreek and some other stuff. But
We no longer buy pre-mixed
when you're
anything because it
eating-
has all that anti-caking agent. So
Yeah.
we mix it fresh.
yeah, and when you're eating all the really good stuff, your body doesn't need anything else. You're not sitting here going, there's something else. I just can't taste it. I need something else. I need something else. It's just like,
We're totally satisfied with a piece of meat, some salt, and some butter. And it's like, how is this happening?
right.
how is our body
Steak, butter, and
surviving on
salt,
this
pepper.
when
I thought I was going
Bring
to
it up.
miss onions and garlic because that's been my favorite
Sure.
seasonings and stuff. I don't really notice that. He's having Tabasco sauce withdrawals because
I'm
he
sure.
always
Yeah.
put it on
Yeah.
his eggs.
Yeah.
So,
I've always put it on my eggs too, so I can understand that.
But then
I still
again-
put my own dry taco seasoning in my little homemade, it's Maria's, it's not Italian, she calls it a herbs de Florence, so it's an Italian style
yeah.
seasoning, but it's Maria's recipe, and I put that on my beef, my eggs, whatever.
Just a pinch, though.
Yeah,
So,
it's not a ton, but
well, this has been great. Any thoughts,
you need a
extra?
sign off like that.
How about Ken's prayer to send us all on the road?
Sign us off with a nice prayer.
God, thank you for letting us meet here tonight and take home some good information with us. I know we're going to be tempted, and them temptations are pretty strong at times, but I know, God, with you being there with us, that they're not as bad as they can be. Just keep, reaching out and guiding us and lead us down that path that we need to be in the healthiest way that we can be also. And all the kids, please keep them in mind too, that it's not their fault. They're being taught different ways. And Lord, you know what's good for us. As I always pray to you. Amen.
Amen. Yes, let it